Game Week 5 in Fantasy EFL is nearly here, and in today's video I'll be going through everything you need to know before selecting your Game Week 5 final team. Before we get into today's video, please be sure to like and subscribe, support does not go unnoticed. I will be posting Fantasy EFL content across the new season, so if you are interested in that, be sure to stick around. If you want to see my final team selection, it's always posted on my Twitter, that'll be linked in the description. As always, we'll begin with teams to target, and starting off with the second tier. I've picked out 3 teams this week, beginning with Bristol City. They're at home to Hull. I know Scott Twine is a very popular pick for Game Week 5. He's got a load of points in Fantasy EFL so far this season. I'm going to avoid all Bristol City players and the club pick due to my own rules. I don't want to be celebrating anything to do with Bristol City, but it's a great fixture, I can't deny that. And if you are going for Scott Twine maybe, or any other Bristol City asset, I think they are great picks and they are popular for a reason. Coventry are away to Oxford. Of course, Coventry come off the back of a 7-1 win against QPR in Game Week 4. And against one of the weaker sides in Oxford. I'm not going to say they're going to score 7 again, but I'm sure they will score a few. Radoni in midfield is another great midfield pick for Game Week 5. And I'm sure the confidence within the Coventry squad will be sky high after that Game Week 4 win against QPR. And my final pick in the second tier is Swansea away to Sheffield Wednesday. I wasn't too sure about this one, of course. Sheffield Wednesday coming off the back of a pretty big Carabao Cup win against Leeds. But despite that, I still think Sheffield Wednesday are one of the weaker sides in the division. And Swansea are doing okay. They're sat in 13th at this moment in time. I feel as if Swansea will be too strong for Sheffield Wednesday. And Swansea picks are very low owned. Cabango, for example, and that could be a great pick if you want to go a bit different. And moving on to League One, and we'll start off with Cardiff, who are at home to Plymouth. Of course, Cardiff are the best in League One right now. They are top of the league after Game Week 4, and Plymouth are doing really poor. I think we all expected them to do a little bit better than they are right now, but that hasn't happened. But Plymouth do come off the back of a really big win in Game Week 4. Maybe that gives them some confidence going into Game Week 5 for their game against Cardiff. But I do think Cardiff will be way too strong for Plymouth. And going for Cardiff assets is really safe, but it's going to guarantee you some points, I think. Stevenage are at home to Wycombe. Stevenage have been really impressive. Reid is the top goal scorer in League One, so there is no surprise why he is one of the most popular players for Game Week 5 at the moment in Fantasy EFL. Wycombe haven't won in 4 in normal time, and their opponents haven't been that great either. It's been Bromley, Reading, Exeter and Doncaster. So when they are coming against a stronger side like Stevenage, you'd be very confident in a Stevenage win. Although football does work in weird ways, so a Wycombe win would be hardly surprising, even though they have been incredibly poor to start off this season. And my final team to target in League One is Bolton, who are home to Blackpool. Bolton's start in League One hasn't been the greatest, quite a few draws in their first couple of games, but they have the highest expected goals within the division, and for me that only means that it's only a matter of time before Bolton start to perform to those expected goals level. And on the flip side, they face Blackpool, who have one of the worst records in League One for expected goals conceded. They are second from bottom, and hopefully this combination of good attacking data versus poor defensive data means that Bolton will score a few goals against Blackpool in Game Week 5. Ending things with League 2, and Chesterfield are at home to Crawley. The home side are currently second in League 2 after Game Week 4, only losing once, and they have looked great both defensively and in front of goal. Crawley have picked up 1 point from 5 games this season, certainly not ideal for a team that has been recently relegated from League 1, and I think Chesterfield will continue their great run of form in League 2 in Game Week 5. And if you want to have a bit of fun on the Friday night fixtures, picking a Salford asset is the go-to for me. They are playing on the Friday at home to Cheltenham, and yet again it's a great side who have got off to a great start to life in their league against a very poor side who have got off to a poor start in their league. Cheltenham are bottom of League 2, conceding 11 and only scoring once, and of course 0 points in the process. While Salford are only just outside of the playoffs, and their top goal scorer is a defender in Olowu, and I'm pretty certain he will be a very popular pick. Okay, now those are my teams to target. Let me know what you think of them, and we'll move on to the clean sheet odds for Game Week 5 in Fantasy EFL. Moving on to the clean sheet odds, these are all being sourced from Bet365, and these are really helpful in order to pick your defensive players in Fantasy EFL. There are a few surprising ones in here, but a few obvious ones as well. And Ipswich are at the top. They're at home to Derby at 50% probability of keeping a clean sheet in Game Week 5. They are followed closely by Cardiff, who are at home to Plymouth at 47.6. And Leyton Orient at home to Northampton is also at 47.6. Chesterfield at home to Crawley at 42.1 is really interesting. Of course, Dunkley will be very popular in Game Week 5, like he has been throughout the season, to be fair. Salford have a 42.1% probability of keeping a clean sheet in Game Week 5. Again, Aluwu with that goal scoring threat and decent clean sheet odds. That further emphasises how good of a pick he will be. And probably the most rogue one out of all of these teams is Bromley, who are at home to Harrogate, and they have a 44.4% probability of keeping a clean sheet in Game Week 5. I think Bromley defenders may be very good for clearance points in this game week. And if you want to go a bit rogue and pick those differential players, you can't go far wrong with Bromley. And those are the clean sheet odds for Game Week 5. Let me know what you think of them, if you agree with them or not. And we'll move on to my Game Week 5 first draft / team selection. I'm still setting up in the 3-2-1 formation. I still prefer it over the 2-3-1, despite the 2-3-1 getting more popular in recent weeks. In goal, I've got Keeley of Luton Town. In my opinion, there weren't very many great goalkeeper picks for this game week, but Keeley's kept 3 clean sheets in 5 games this season with 12 saves. It's alright, and that is my goalkeeper pick for Game Week 5 at the moment. Moving on to the 3 defenders, and it is all coming from League 2, the best league in the EFL. We'll begin with Aluwu, who I've talked about quite a lot in this video. If we take a look at his stats, 54 clearances in 5 games, so he's around 11 clearances per game there, with 2 goals of course, so he's got that attacking threat against a really poor Cheltenham side. He is my vice captain at the moment because he is playing on the Friday night, so if he does get a mega haul with a clean sheet and a goal, we can always use the vice captain trick on him, and that of course benefits me quite a bit. Now my captain at the moment is Dunkley of Chesterfield, another player who I've talked about previously in this video. Only 6% selected, which is a bit surprising in my opinion, because we saw those pretty high clean sheet odds for Game Week 5 against Crawley Town. 64 clearances in 5 games, 6 tackles, 4 blocks. In Game Week 4 he picked up 12 points despite not getting a clean sheet, a goal, 10 clearances and 2 blocks. And as I said, he is my captain at the moment, and I don't really see him moving from my team. My third and final centre back is Sanders, the highest scoring player in Fantasy EFL so far, and he is 23.8% selected, and that is a very high amount for a defender. He has averaged 11.6 points this season, incredible numbers, and this is why 86 clearances in 5 games, 3 clean sheets, I think the 1 goal this season, and MK Dons have only conceded twice in 5 games. Moving into midfield, and we'll begin with Dan Kemp. Only 0.6% selected, which is surprising in my opinion, but 3 goal involvements in 5 games. That is really good. 8 key passes as well. He averaging around 6 points per game this season. I expect his ownership to be a bit higher as we get closer to the deadline of Game Week 5, but at the moment Dan Kemp is a lock in my team, and if you want to target that game against Wickham, Dan Kemp is my go-to alongside Reed up front. My second player in midfield is Broadbent of Doncaster Rovers, 0.3% selected, so another really low owned player here. And I'm picking Broadbent on the basis of that he gets a load of interceptions, 10 in 5 games this season. So that is 2 per game alongside 7 key passes. But surprisingly, with those 7 key passes, 0 assists in the 5 games. So hopefully against Rotherham, he'll get his first assist. And I think it's a really good pick if you want to go a bit different at the 0.3% selected mark. And my final player is League 2 top goal scorer last season, Michael Cheek, at 7.4% selected. Again, 3 goal involvements in 5 games, 7 key passes and 4 shots on target. Bromley faced Harrogate in Game Week 5, and that definitely gives the opportunity for Michael Cheek to get a few. And of course that means he'll also get quite a few Fantasy EFL points, and I wouldn't mind that at all. Moving on to the team pick, Salford against Cheltenham, of course the away side being the worst team in the EFL. 1 goal scored, 11 conceded and 0 points. Salford are a team who I've already picked this season, so I've got to be a bit careful about that, but I think against the worst side in the EFL it is a pretty fair use of a team pick. And my second team pick being Chesterfield against Crawley. Chesterfield being a side who I haven't picked at all this season, so this will be my first use of the 5 that we all get. But that is my team. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. If there is anything I should alter, of course let me know. If you want to see my final team selection, it will be on my Twitter. That'll be linked in the description alongside my mini league link. So if you are interested in being in my mini league, be sure to click on the link. But yeah, that does conclude today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and good luck in Game Week 5.